With the time being 7:23, I'd like to call the Government Operations Committee to order. Roll call, please.
Gem.
Here.
Spellman.
Here.
Petrola.
Here.
Wirbal.
Here.
Essner.
Here.
Fokaitis.
Here.
Folks.
Here.
Bungard. Munns.
Here.
Weber.
Here. Thank you. First up, I'm looking for a motion and a second for the omnibus vote.
So moved.
Moved by Folks, second
Second.
by Munns. Roll call, please.
Gem. Spellman.
Yes.
Petrola.
Yes.
Wirbal.
Yes.
Essner.
Yes.
Fokaitis.
Yes.
Folks.
Yes.
Munns.
Yes.
All righty. First up, we have a presentation by Bill Hanna, and I do see Chairman Rivard from the Mental Health Board as well, who's here. So
Okay.
I'll turn over to you, Mr. Hanna.
Thank you, Chair Weber. The first item tonight is a recommendation to approve funding allocations as recommended by the city's Mental Health Board. As the committee is aware, since 1986, the city levies an annual property tax levy specifically for funding organizations providing mental health services to the residents of St. Charles. For the 2024 tax levy, the city levied $680,000. This was a $20,000 increase over the prior year and equated to a property tax rate of about 3.3 cents for 2024. As stated, the Mental Health Board receives applications and discusses funding allocations and recommendations for the upcoming year. Chairman Richard Rivard is here tonight to provide an overview and answer any questions related to those allocation decisions. So before I turn it over to Chairman Rivard, are there any questions related to the annual funding process?
Any questions? No?
I'd just ask if Richard step up.
Just state your name for the record.
Ricky Rivard, I'm chair of the 708 board in St. Charles. Thank you for having me. Gentleman went over most of what I was going to say, so I'll just jump right down to the allocation of the seven largest organizations. They received over $25,000, and those are Tri-Cities Family Services. We're recommending $190,000. They do psychiatric crisis care and family therapy. The Ecker Center, we're recommending $101,000. They run a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week crisis center. St. Charles Police Social Worker for crisis intervention, we're recommending $73,714. Lighthouse Recovery, they treat substance abuse that extends beyond what insurance would normally provide. We're recommending $67,227. Lazarus House, we all know, downtown, one of the jewels of the city. Homeless prevention, $47,171. CASA King County, Child Advocacy Group, one of the more important things that we do in this county, $30,927. And AID, Developmental Disability Support, $28,970. Does anyone have any questions?
Any questions for Chairman Rivard? Go ahead, Brian.
Yep, thank you for your presentation.
Yeah, cheers.
I just noticed there's a few empty amounts for organizations that applied. Is there a reason why they didn't get funding?
Right. So we had 23 applications this year, which was an increase, and we had 4 new agencies apply. 3 did not qualify. Either they didn't fit our mission statement, they were a for-profit organization, or they were asking for things that didn't fit the mission statement. So we sent out letters to them letting them know why they weren't approved for funding.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? No? Thank you very much, Chairman Rivard.
Thank you. Cheers.
With that, I'm looking for a
Move for
motion
approval.
second. I have a motion by Gem, second by Wirbal. Roll call, please.
Gem.
Yes.
Spellman.
Yes.
Petrola.
Yes.
Wirbal.
Yes.
Essner.
Yes.
Fokaitis.
Yes.
Folks.
Yes.
Munns.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Thank you very much. Next up, item 5B, Bill Hanna is going to make another presentation. Go ahead, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair Weber. Just let Jim do his magic here. Are we all well set? So this item is consideration of a recommendation to approve an ordinance which would essentially continue an existing state-imposed grocery tax currently in place at the rate of 1%. This recommendation is being made tonight as the state has passed legislation to eliminate that tax effective January 1st, 2026, and the city would need to take action to keep this existing tax in place come January 1st of 2026. So I can, Jim, is that, There we go. Thank you. So just for background information, the state has had a 1% tax on groceries in effect since 1990. This tax applies to groceries, which are also defined as food not prepared for immediate consumption, as well as other items. 100% of that tax revenue that is generated currently comes back to the city of St. Charles for taxable sales that occur within the city's boundaries. In addition to that 1% tax, there is also in place a 0.75% tax on those same items that the RTA receives money for. So the total tax currently in place is 1.75%. With the elimination of this 1%, there would still be an existing tax rate of 0.75%. So the reason why we are discussing this tonight is in early 2024, the governor made a recommendation and the state passed legislation eliminating this tax as it applies to groceries effective January 1st of 2026. This action by the state had no fiscal impact on the state. The impact is borne directly by municipalities such as the city of St. Charles. Fortunately, there were efforts made to incorporate a provision which would allow municipalities to enact and continue this existing 1% tax locally, essentially just maintaining the existing status quo. If a municipality chooses to reenact this 1% tax, the city must do so by October 1st of 2025 to be in place for January 1st of 2026. This follows the existing sales tax implementation deadlines established by the Illinois Department of Revenue, October implementation for January, effective January, or April 1st for effective dates of July 1st. So the impact of this action by the state would be significant. The city currently receives, we estimate, around $2 million a year from this current 1% tax on groceries. We obviously don't know the exact numbers, but just based on assumptions and analysis, roughly $2 million is the estimated amount of revenue that the city currently receives. This comes from a variety of sources and stores, including Costco, Meijer, 2 different Jewel Oscos located within the city, as well as Walmart, Target, Aldi, and soon-to-be Whole Foods. This money goes into the city's general fund and is a key source of funding for basic core services. I know I've presented the chart on this screen many different times, but just as a reminder, 71% of the city's expenditures in the general fund are related to police and fire protection, street maintenance, and public works. So in addition to significant fiscal impacts, this would also have an impact on the ability of the city to incentivize grocery-type retailers from locating in St. Charles. As I just mentioned, everyone knows Whole Foods is opening up next week. That is possible because the city negotiated an economic incentive agreement with them in order to allow them to make the numbers work for them to locate in St. Charles. The city has also used the grocery tax revenue as an incentive to allow the Costco to locate in the city of St. Charles more than 15 years ago, and Costco is the largest sales taxpayer to the city. Elimination of this tax would essentially remove this tool from the city's toolbox in terms of having a way to incentivize grocery store retailers to locate in potentially, whether it's a vacant space or potentially a new space within the city. So in consideration of this issue, we also looked at where foot traffic comes from people who are shopping at the city's grocery stores. Derek has presented many times Placer AI data, and we looked at this data to determine where, based on zip codes, patrons are coming from when they visit these St. Charles retailers. And an analysis of that shows that a very significant portion of it is generated from non-St. Charles residents. This map shows the trade area of Costco, and some of the numbers may be difficult to see, but essentially this shows all the different zip codes where foot traffic is being generated from for people visiting and shopping at Costco. Based on the analysis of this data, 27% of those shoppers come from St. Charles related zip codes, meaning 73% come from non-St. Charles related zip codes. So a significant portion of that traffic and likely sales tax revenue is not coming from St. Charles residents, it's coming from outside the city. Another example is one of the two jewels in town. Analysis of that zip code activity shows that over roughly half of the activity on the West Side Jewel come from shoppers that live in St. Charles, so roughly a 50% split. When we took, working with Derek in terms of the major stores where these grocery store type items are sold, most locations, a majority of that foot traffic is coming from non-St. Charles zip codes. So when you do some weighted analysis based on estimates of what these sales tax revenues generated from these stores, we came up with a blended estimate that roughly 65% of the sales tax revenue generated by foot traffic to these stores comes from non-St. Charles related zip codes. So a majority of that sales tax revenue is coming from not St. Charles residents. The Whole Foods is opening up, obviously, next week, and they have a trade area that they're provided of roughly 10 miles. That trade area includes many surrounding communities, Geneva, South Elgin, Batavia, and farther east, northwest, and south than that. So we would expect to see a similar type of breakdown eventually once Whole Foods opens up and that data becomes available to us to look at. So since this legislation was enacted, there have been many municipalities that have discussed this and passed an ordinance and filed that ordinance with the Illinois Department of Revenue to continue that existing tax effective January 1st of 2026. As of June 13th, the most recent information from IDOR was that 218 municipalities have approved this ordinance and filed that with the Illinois Department of Revenue. Some of those municipalities that have done that locally include Batavia, Elburn, Montgomery, North Aurora, Sugar Grove, South Elgin, and Yorkville. And some other communities in DuPage and surrounding areas include Carroll Stream, East Dundee, Glen Ellen, Hanover Park, Hoffman Estates, Schaumburg, and Wheaton. And we know that there are other communities discussing this and possibly approving this in the near future as well. So just kind of summarize some of the considerations as staff has looked at this. The estimated loss of revenue to the city would be about $2 million and would be a significant, have a significant impact on services that the city provides. As you know, the city just went through a little bit of a difficult budget process trying to address some structural issues that are occurring due to ongoing revenue sources decreasing or remaining flat and trying to meet all of the operating and capital improvement needs of the city. So we also looked at the fact that a majority of this grocery tax can be presumed to be paid non-residents. That alleviates the burden that is put on residents for funding city services. One thing that Heather and I are constantly worried about are federal and state legislative actions and unfunded mandates that continue to impact our ability to fund operations and provide all the required, necessary, and desired capital improvements that have been discussed by the city and the city council. So that continues to be definitely one of the biggest ongoing concerns. So as indicated at the beginning of the presentation, as far as options, the option being recommended tonight would be to reenact the existing 1% grocery tax. One important point to note here is that the state of Illinois will not allow us to do anything different than 1%. It's either 0% or 1%. Implementation of this tax would essentially maintain the exact same taxing structure that is in place. It would be status quo and there would be no change to what currently exists. The city could look at other options. An equivalent increase in property taxes would be about 14% increase would generate about the $2 million that's needed to make that up. There are other options that could be considered, an increase in the sales tax or different types of excise and consumption taxes, but the impact of that could be have a disparate impact on certain businesses or consumers. And ultimately, staff recommended that the status quo be maintained and that some of those options may be kept aside for future consideration. So, as I said, staff's recommending approval of this ordinance tonight to keep the existing tax locally and keep it in place as of January 1st, 2026. And Heather and myself happy to answer any further questions.
Okay. Any questions on this?
I have one.
Go ahead, Mr. Bethel.
Bill, you had stated the .75 tax for the RTA. Is that going to stay in place on the state side?
Yes, my understanding is that tax would stay in place.
And then how will that get collected, or how is that getting collected?
I assume the state is collecting that 0.75% on behalf of the RTA and then remitting that to the RTA on a monthly basis, just like they do for us now for our sales taxes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if it's going through us or...
It does not go through us at all.
So this will be two separate line items, so to say.
In our state tax, if this is implemented, will continue going through the state. They will collect this as well for us, so it won't be a locally collected tax.
Okay, thank you.
I did notice that the municipalities that have voted no on it do not have any grocery stores, so. Yeah, they were boasting that they're voting no, but they don't have grocery stores.
Correct.
Is there any other questions on this? Looking for a motion and second?
Move to approve.
Motion by Pope, second by Spellman. Roll call, please.
Gann?
Yes.
Spellman?
Yes.
Petrella?
Yes.
Wirball?
Yes.
Bessner?
Yes.
Kulkaitis?
Yes.
Folks?
Yes.
Munns?
Yes.
All right, great. Thank you. That motion carries. Next up, we have item 7A. I think we have about 7 items that Chief Majewski is going to be talking about and presenting.
Thank you.
When you are ready, you have the floor, Chief Majewski.
Thank you. First item is the Tri-City Health Partnership Health Fair. Tri-City Health Partnership is sponsoring a health fair and is requesting closure of the city's public lot R, located in 300 block of Walnut, which is behind the Shell gas station. It's be on Saturday, August 9th, 2025. This event is scheduled to take place from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. At this event, Tri-City Health Partnerships will provide sports physicals and regular childhood vaccine to school-aged children in Central Kane County, primarily for families whose parents are Tri-City Health Partnership patients. Physicals and vaccine are by appointment throughout the day. The only city service requested is the use of barricades. Event volunteers will remove all barricades at the conclusion of the event. Police Department recommends the approval of city parking lot R closure for the Tri-City Health Partnership Health Fair.
Great. Any questions?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion by Wirball, seconded by Petrilla. Roll call, please.
Gann?
Yes.
Spellman?
Yes.
Petrella?
Yes.
Wirball?
Yes.
Bessner?
Yes.
Kulkaitis?
Yes.
Folks?
Yes.
Munns?
Yes.
Wonderful, that motion carries. Next up is item 7B.
All right. This appeared earlier this evening at the Liquor Control Commission and was unanimously approved. The application for a Class E4 temporary license authorizing either the sale of delivery of beer and wine or alcoholic liquors for consumption on city-owned property, as indicated on the proposed site for a music festival. This license is requested for a single one-day event, Pollyanna Blues and Brews on the Fox 2025, to be held Saturday, August 23rd. This event is scheduled to take place from noon to 11 p.m. The event is open to all, and those 21 and older are required to wear a wristband. Tickets will also be available for pre-sale. Barrier fencing will surround the perimeter of the festival property. Pollyanna will only be open to the festival patrons for the duration of this event. 2 entrants will be available to assist with credentialing and monitoring the total number of patrons. This will be on the north and south of Riverside. They will not exceed the maximum amount of patrons is yet to be determined. There will be a $10 entrance fee, which will include a 16-ounce mug. This mug will be there cup throughout the day, and a fee of $8 will be charged for each refill. Several wine and specialty alcoholic beverages will also be available in smaller portions, and non-alcoholic beverages will also be available. Food will be available for purchase in the lot south of Pollyanna by Duke's and Flagship, as well as a barbecue food truck. Porta potties will also be in that portion of the parking lot as well. A series of live bands will begin at noon and end outside at 9:30. They will perform on a 20 by 26-foot stage that will be at the south end of Riverside Ave, at the Riverside Ave closure. The final band will play indoor inside Pollyanna on the Pollyanna stage to end the event. All attendees will be required to leave by 11 p.m. The road will be reopened as soon as the stage is disassembled, which they estimate to be around 1 a.m. The event coordinators have requested Riverside Ave be closed off from Walnut to Illinois Ave during this event. They're also requesting a small portion of City Lot B, as I mentioned, to be closed off. The requested time frame for setup and takedown will be 6 a.m. Saturday to 1 a.m. on Sunday, the following morning. Police Department will also have officers at the event for traffic direction and event safety. And Ryan Weiner is here to answer any questions. The event coordinator is here. Here I can answer any questions referencing the event if needed.
Any questions? Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, this sounds like a fun event, so we talked about this a little bit. So just two things is, will you go around and notify the residents in the adjacent neighborhood that this is coming? We can certainly help as well. Is that something you plan on doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably sometime in July, give them a heads up that we're doing this in August. Both the condo folks on the west side and up the hill on the east side. Okay. Maybe even throw them up an admission ticket or something to entice them to participate.
And then the second question are we going to have any parking restrictions, or is everything going to kind of stay the same?
Everything will stay the same.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Folks.
Sorry if I don't remember. Was this done in the past, last year, previously, anything like this?
We've done these events throughout kind of our tenure, but in other communities and in other towns, but nothing in St. Charles.
Okay, I guess my question, guesstimating the attendance piece, I know that's kind of up in the air. Based on what you've had at others, can you ballpark the amount just for concerns for patrons moving through the fourth ward, things like that?
Yeah, we're kind of ballparking 800 to 1,200. Now, we've done some of these events at our other locations for a decade, and those have grown. Okay. So we've kind of seen that build up over the years, but we're really kind of ballparking on the lower side year one. That's also why we're doing the admission here, to give us a little bit of control. Okay. In the event it does become popular, the admission, we can control how many cups and how many people come in. So this event isn't always an admission-focused event for us, but given the uncertainty of if we do get a swell, that we can control it, and then, one out, one in type of things.
And did you say any pre-sales? Or no? Is that... We are going to pre-selling. Yeah, okay. Give us a good feel. Good feel as you come into the day.
We'll probably start pre-sale about mid-July, and then marketing.
Want to echo Alderman, this sounds like a real fun event. Just want to make sure it's safe for everybody going in. But thank you.
Yeah,
move for approval.
A motion by Roll and a second by Petrillo. Roll call, please.
Jim?
Yes.
Spellman? Yes. Petrillo?
Yes.
Wirball?
Yes.
Fessner?
Yes.
Folkaitis?
No. I mean, yes, I'm sorry.
Yes. Folks?
Yes.
Munn? Yes.
All right, great.
Thank you.
Motion carries. It sounds like a great event. Next up, we have item 7C.
All right. This amendment also appeared earlier this evening at the Liquor Control Commission and was unanimously approved. Will redefine the Class C license, which will authorize the retail sale of alcoholic liquors for consumption on premise of a tavern, bar, or saloon. Class C3 license shall also authorize the retail sale of wine, and what we're going to add to that is specialty drinks, which include spirits prepared mixed drinks, originating from the licensed premise in original packaging only and not for consumption on the premise, that are sold within the segregated retail cashier area of the premises. Just instead of just making a wine, it's going to be wine or specialty drinks.
Chief, what was the impetus for this? Like, what caused it?
There's the Lewis hasn't applied for the license yet, but they make a certain type of mixed drink that they want to be able to sell packaged for people to leave with their consumption off-site.
Any questions?
Move for approval.
Second. Motion by Wirball, second by Petrillo. Roll call, please.
Jim?
Yes.
Spellman? Yes. Petrillo?
Yes.
Wirball?
Yes.
Fessner?
Yes.
Folkaitis?
Yes.
Folks?
Yes.
Munn? Yes.
All right, that item carries. Moving along to item 7D.
Okay, this amendment also appeared earlier this evening before the Liquor Control Commission and was unanimously approved. It is necessary to codify the retail sale of alcoholic liquor in accordance with Class C1 regulations, and shall further authorize a self-pouring beer, wine, cider, and seltzer only for consumption on the premise of a tavern, bar, or saloon. So basically what that means is a self-pour where the patron pours or gets the alcohol themselves. And typically how this would work is each patron would check in at a front desk. Obviously, they have to be over 21, verify their age. be given some sort of device, a key fob. I was at one in Florida, and they gave me a key fob. So you basically take this device and hold it up to the pour device, pour however much you want, and then you can try different drinks, self-serving on your own. So that's essentially the self-pour model. A Bassett certified individual shall be present at all hours of the operation and monitor patron operator dispenser pours and consumption of a patron operated dispenser poured alcohol at all times. It shall be unlawful for the licensee, its agents, and employees to permit any patron under 21 to access any of the taps for self-service. It shall be unlawful for its agents and employees to permit any intoxicated patron to access the self-pour taps for self-pour. The licensed and its agent and employee that is Bassett certified shall verify identification and patron that is over 21, as I mentioned, and obtain a clear plastic or glass container that would hold no more than 16 ounces of beer, seltzer, or cider, or 9 ounces of wine for the use of the self-pouring taps. The container shall have an emblem representing the licensed brand that is dissimilar from any other containers in the tavern, bar, or saloon. Total number of 16-ounce beer, seltzer, or containers, or 9-ounce wine container shall be limited to no more than one per patron. The license, its agent, and its employee that is Bassett certified shall issue a RFID or refid, like I said, some sort of device to access the pour taps, an age-verified patron to allow self-pouring of beer, wine, seltzer, and cider, and no more than 32-ounce limit for beer, seltzer, cider, and then 12-ounce limit for wine per patron. At all times, the amount of beer, seltzer, cider, or wine to be delivered to the tap will be limited and controlled by Bassett certified staff member. Each RFID card shall be capable of being deactivated if necessary to prevent violations of the municipal code. So once a person is finished with the drinking and with their fob, we take it up to the counter and they would know how much alcohol the person poured as far as how much they're going to pay. The license fee will be similar to that or C1 or C2, which is $1,200. So with that, recommend the new C4 license.
Any questions for that? No? Motion by Munn, or do you have questions?
I just have a question.
Question, go ahead.
I'm not super familiar with how this works. I don't know that I've ever been to an establishment that has this. When this went through the Liquor Commission, did they have questions about how to regulate, over-serving, or since it's a self-serve situation?
They didn't have any questions about that, but once the person reaches the limit, they have to go back up and check in to repay again to get the next amount. So
the RFID
it kind of tracks how much. Yes,
okay.
So it tracks how much each is the limit that each person is supposed to get. So
okay.
Obviously it won't work if the person's over. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Just a point of clarity. So is anyone under the age of 21 allowed into the establishment, and then is there a separate area where they're not allowed? Because I'm looking at number 2.
It's my understanding, and we don't have a licensee yet. I believe there is a license application in queue for that. Whether they allow people under 21, I'm not sure. But as far as being able to obtain one of the key fobs, you do have to verify your age. So I would imagine some businesses could allow underage people to be in there.
So if somebody's 18 years old and there's a 21-year-old, the 18 and 21-year-old can go in to the establishment. The 21-year-old can get the card. The 18-year-old is not supposed to follow them to where you pour all the beer. Is that how I'm reading this? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Whether the specific license will allow under 21, that'll to be determined. But yes, that's the concept.
Okay. All right. Move for approval.
Any other questions? No? Okay, have a motion by Wirball and a second by Petrilla. Roll call, please.
Gannon?
Yes.
Spellman?
Yes.
Petrilla?
Yes.
Wirball?
Yes.
Hefner?
Yes.
Bokaitis?
Yes.
Folks?
Yes.
Munz?
Yes.
All right, great, that motion carries. We now have item 7E.
Okay. Due to the above new license C4 amendment, the video gaming license is also requested to be amended. This appeared earlier this evening at the Liquor Control Commission and was unanimously approved. And basically, there's no other language change, but since A4, A5, B1, 2, 3, C, 1, 2, and 3, we're just going to add C4 to the video gaming so that a C4 type license can obtain video gaming for that type of establishment.
Is there any questions on that?
I had a question. It's probably more for staff. Do we still have a sunset clause in place for the ordinance itself? If you don't know now, I just know we had one in place when it was first introduced, and I don't know if that just kept going on.
You're talking about the video gaming and the liquor
Ordinance as a
tie.
whole, yeah.
I have to double check on that. I can't remember offhand.
I'm just more curious about it, but thank you.
I believe we just had Fox Social just took over for Crazy Fox, and because the establishment wasn't changing anything as far as the business plan, I believe kept the same license, they were able to inherit that video gaming license.
Sure.
A brand new business would have to have a liquor license for a year before they apply for video gaming. So if this is a new business concept, I would imagine they would have to have their liquor license for a year before they could get video gaming. So.
Got it. Well, thank you. Thank you.
No, I was just going to, you made the point I was going to make. That
I'm sorry?
You have to wait a year.
Yes, they have the liquor license for a year, wait a year, and then get.
Yeah, I think my question was more, I think overall, when we first introduced the ordinance, we had a clause in place in case we wanted to end it.
Understood.
I'm not sure if we still have that in place.
Gotcha.
But thank you.
All right, is that look for a motion?
Move for approval.
Moved by Wirball, seconded by Bessner. Roll call, please.
Gams?
Yes.
Spellman?
Yes.
Petrilla?
Yes.
Wirball?
Yes.
Bessner?
Yes.
Kulkaitis?
Yes.
Folks?
Yes.
Munz?
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Next up, we have item 7F.
Right. This also appeared earlier this evening at the Liquor Control Commission when was unanimously approved. Application for a Class A4 license, which will authorize retail sale of beer, wine, and spirits for consumption on or off premise, where brewed, distilled, or fermented on the premises, provided the retail sale of beer or wine for consumption off premise shall be in its original package only. 345 North Ave LLC was created by owner Stephen Newman, who is here tonight. And we'll have the DBA Brother Chimp Brewing. It won't be at 303 North 4th Street, the former location of D&G Brewing. This will be the second location for the brewery, as Stephen currently owns Brother Chimp Brewery in North Aurora, which has been open for 5 years. Stephen is Bassett certified and will be the on-site manager until the new manager can be hired. The only change in the business are cosmetic and the floor plan for the brewing area, tap room, and bar will remain the same. Nothing was discovered during the background that prohibit the applicant from obtaining the license. And I or Stephen can answer any questions references to new business.
Is there any questions?
Just
go ahead, David.
Just a comment. I just echo what you mentioned in Liquor Commission. So thank you for coming to St. Charles and filling that space because it's going to be vacant. And something I did want to add. I'm looking forward to, I hope obviously you'll work well with the residents in that particular area. There were historical concerns there, but I have faith and thanks and welcome. So.
Go ahead, Alderman Folks.
Just honestly want to say just excited you're here. Thank you for bringing your business to St. Charles. Look forward to having you.
Excited to be here. Excellent. With that, I'm looking for a
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion by Wirball, seconded by Gem. Roll call, please.
Gams?
Yes.
Spellman?
Yes.
Petrilla?
Yes.
Wirball?
Yes.
Bessner?
Yes.
Kulkaitis?
Yes.
Folks?
Yes.
Munz?
Yes.
Great. That motion carries. Thank you very much. And then we have one more, Chief Majewski. Item 7G. That's okay.
Is this Al Santo?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I believe on June 3rd, Government Services Committee denied the late night permit due to code violations. It's my understanding that Checkman Code Enforcement and Fire, all those all those code violations have been remedied, and El Santo has applied for the late night permit, which we will approve. That'll be a 2 a.m. late night permit, so that would be my recommendation, since the violations are taken care of, that they'll get their late night permit.
Wonderful. I do see the business owner here as well. Thank you very much for taking care of the violations. Is there any questions regarding this? Looking for a motion. Moved by Gem.
Second.
Seconded by Wirball. Roll call, please.
Gams?
Yes.
Spellman?
Yes.
Petrilla?
Yes.
Wirball?
Yes.
Bessner?
Yes.
Kulkaitis?
Yes.
Folks?
Yes.
Munz?
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Thank you very much. And then we have a presentation by Derek Conley, item 8A. You have the floor.
Good evening. This item may sound familiar, as our mayor gave an announcement at the end of the city council meeting just a few moments ago. This is an ordinance proposing an amendment 3 to the First Street redevelopment plan, convening of the joint review board and calling of a public hearing So essentially, the city is seeking a 12-year extension of the First Street TIF district. In order to extend the TIF district, the city must follow a very precise and specific process outlined by state statute. This process actually started last year in 2024. City staff presented the proposed extension to all the impacted taxing bodies and secured all the required letters of support, which were passed by resolution. From there, we worked with our local state legislators to obtain the formal state-level approval for the extension, and that occurred earlier this year. The next step is kind of going through this process at the local city level. This includes various forms of public notification, a convening of the joint review board meeting, or the joint review board, which is all the impacted taxing bodies, and then also a public hearing. For tonight, and again, this is all by state statute, the city must pass an ordinance setting the dates and times of these two meetings. So for the joint review board meeting, it would be July 29th at 2:30 p.m. here at City Hall. And then the public hearing would be September 2nd at 7 p.m., which would be at a city council meeting, which of course, again, is here at City Hall. The city has launched a project page on our city website for more information, and there will be more information forthcoming to City Council. But essentially, just to be clear, we're not actually discussing the First Street TIF district extension tonight. We just by ordinance have to set the time and place of these two meetings, and that's what this ordinance accomplishes.
Gotcha.
Take any questions?
Any questions? What I can tell you is that throughout this whole process, staff has spent a lot of time. This is not an easy process to do a second time around. They hit a couple speed bumps, but I appreciate the time that everyone has put together to make this happen, because it would have been pretty detrimental to our city if we couldn't get this done. So with that, I will take a motion in a second.
Second.
Moved by Wirball, seconded by Petrilla. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. The ayes have it. That is approved. Any public comment? Mr. Anderson? I know you typically don't come just to hang out.
I guess I should have a comment. The first one I'm going to give is the sound system is so much better than a year ago. Let's hear it for the guy. That's a positive note. The rest of it is all the liquor opportunities I wish I drank, I guess. But thank you for your good work. And Heather, I met you today. I didn't know you were officially in. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Is there any additional items from council, mayor, or staff? I do have one thing. I've been getting more and more complaints. Go ahead, Heather.
Sorry, just one real quick answer to Alderperson Besner's question. That ordinance that enacted the video gaming in 2015 had a sunset of 2018 on it, but a new ordinance was enacted and that sunset was removed, so it's just ongoing.
They don't have
now.
it anymore. Okay, thank you very much.
This question is directed towards Peter Seward, Public Works. I know me and Besner have been getting more and more people reaching out to us about Prairie. I know that we got snagged up. I know that we're trying to rework some stuff, but I'm hoping this is going to be resolved this year, or else it's going to be a problem.
We are working on getting a presentation together for next Monday's government services meeting to address exactly that. The intent is to finalize that construction this summer in advance of school year, but it'll be more thoroughly explained next week.
Wonderful. I have people threatening to sue for axles, rims, all different kinds of stuff.
We are trying to push as much information as we can out on social media and be more creative about how we're getting that out there, but hopefully once we have that meeting next Monday, we'll have some hard, concrete information we can actually give to everybody, no pun intended.
Thank you very much. There's no need for executive session tonight. So I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Gem, seconded by Wirball. All those in favor of adjourning say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.